Have you ever noticed that the things you want most in life seem to slip further away the tighter you try to hold on to them? We map out our futures with meticulous precision, believing that if we simply exert enough effort, strategize enough hours, and refuse to ever ease up, the universe will eventually bend to our will. But what if the fundamental law of attraction is actually the opposite of what we've been taught? What if the very act of forcing, of grasping, of desperately willing things to happen is the invisible barrier blocking everything you desire? This isn't about passivity or giving up on your dreams. It's about a radical realignment of where your genuine power resides. The Stoic philosophers understood this paradox centuries before modern self-help gurus popularized it. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, spoke of the profound peace found in accepting the natural flow of events, rather than exhausting oneself fighting against the current of reality. He recognized that our struggle isn't with the world, but with our own insistence that the world conform to our expectations. The real battlefield is the mind itself, training it to channel energy toward what we can genuinely shape, and releasing everything else with grace. That's the core transformation we're exploring today. A mental shift that can fundamentally alter your approach to success, your relationships, and your fundamental sense of inner quiet. Because if you constantly feel stressed, like no matter how hard you push, things just aren't clicking into place, there's a reason hiding in plain sight. You might be holding on too tightly to things that were never yours to control in the first place. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is about something more foundational: how to move through existence with authentic confidence, a sense of calm certainty rather than anxious desperation. And if you stay with me through to the end, you'll leave with a completely transformed lens for understanding how to receive what you want without the frantic, exhausting chase. Before we go further, if the work we're doing here resonates with you, a simple click on the subscribe button takes just a moment but helps these insights reach others searching for them. Let's begin. We dedicate so many of our waking hours to fixating on results, waiting for that promotion to finalize, hoping a relationship will evolve the way we picture it, stressing over whether our efforts will eventually be validated. We convince ourselves that more effort, more hours, more relentless pushing will eventually force the outcomes we desire. But observe what actually happens. The more we cling to a specific vision of the future, the more anxiety begins to poison the present. The journey itself stops being meaningful. Our happiness becomes a hostage to something perpetually out of reach, something we can never fully guarantee. This is the trap we build for ourselves, brick by anxious brick. The Stoics diagnosed this human tendency with startling clarity. Epictetus taught that our suffering rarely stems from events themselves, but from our desperate attachment to wanting events to unfold in a specific, predetermined way. He advised, "Do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish instead that they happen as they actually do, and you will find peace." In essence, instead of chaining your contentment to a specific outcome, pour your energy into what you can actually influence. Your own effort, your discipline, the quality of your attention in this moment. Release your grip on everything beyond that. Consider an artist approaching a blank canvas. If they are consumed by the need for every stroke to be flawless, tormented by thoughts of future judgment, they will never enter that state of effortless creation where the best work emerges. But the moment they release their attachment to the final product and simply lose themselves in the act of painting, something shifts. They become fully immersed. The work flows. And paradoxically, that state of detachment is precisely when their most powerful art is born. This same principle governs every domain of life: your career, your connections with others, your personal evolution. When you stop obsessing over how things absolutely must turn out, you grant yourself the freedom to actually experience the journey. This is strikingly evident in relationships. Have you ever observed someone trying too hard to win another person's affection? Their energy feels heavy, laced with neediness, almost desperate. And what's the natural result? It repels. It creates distance. Yet someone who is genuinely at ease with themselves, not fixated on a particular outcome, radiates a quiet confidence that naturally draws others in. Why? Because they aren't driven by fear. They trust that whatever is meant to emerge will emerge. That's the quiet power of release. Now let's turn to success. So many of us operate under an unspoken tyranny. If we haven't achieved X by age Y, we've somehow failed. We treat life like a rigid checklist. Graduate by this year, earn this amount, reach this milestone by that date. And when reality deviates from our blueprint, we spiral into self-recrimination. But success is rarely a straight line. It's a meandering path with unexpected detours, apparent setbacks that become setups for something greater, and opportunities that arrive in disguises we weren't expecting. If you're too rigidly attached to one specific outcome, you risk missing a better one that life is quietly steering you toward. Pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, what am I clutching too tightly? Which goal, which expectation, which imagined outcome is generating my stress? Now imagine what would happen if you simply relaxed your grip. Not abandoning your dream, but trusting that whatever unfolds, you will be equipped to handle it. That's the essence of healthy detachment. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing things to go a certain way in order to feel okay. So how do you actually practice this in daily life? First, anchor yourself daily in the recognition that outcomes are fundamentally beyond your command. The only territory you truly govern is your effort, your discipline, your internal state. Second, consciously reframe your inner language. Replace "I desperately need this to happen" with "I trust that whatever happens will serve my growth." And finally, continually return your attention to the present moment. The more deeply you inhabit the now, the less power the future holds over your peace of mind. Life inevitably presents us with challenges. Some days everything seems to align effortlessly. Other days it feels as though the entire cosmos is conspiring against you. The dividing line between those who crumble under pressure and those who actually grow stronger isn't luck, it's mindset. The lens through which you interpret events shapes your entire experience of life. And if you don't actively cultivate mastery over your own mind, your mind will unconsciously master you. You can't always determine what happens around you, the economy, other people's choices, unforeseen obstacles. But you can always determine your response. That's where authentic power resides. When you shift from reactive mode to responsive mode, everything changes. Psychologist William James, often considered the father of American psychology, observed that the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. This aligns perfectly with Stoic teaching. You are not required to believe every thought that drifts through your consciousness. You don't have to let every difficult moment define you. Instead, you can train yourself to reframe situations, to step back and perceive them from a higher vantage point. Imagine you're navigating a rough patch at work. Mistakes are happening. Your supervisor's scrutiny feels intense. You feel like you're failing. One possible interpretation: I'm terrible at this. I'll never improve. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it. That's a fixed mindset, and it's a prison. But what if you consciously substituted a different thought? What if you said instead, I'm in a learning curve. Every mistake contains a lesson. This pressure is actually strengthening my resilience. That's a growth mindset, and it transforms struggle into raw material for development. The Stoics believed that every obstacle is actually an opportunity to practice virtue, patience, resilience, wisdom. Seneca wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind, just as physical labor strengthens the body. Every frustration, every setback, every moment of discomfort is essentially a workout for your inner self. Think of it like lifting weights. If you never challenge your muscles, they never grow. The same principle applies to your mind. But let's be realistic. Mastering your mindset isn't an overnight transformation. It's a daily practice, a simple place to start. Begin paying attention to your internal monologue. Are you constantly feeding yourself thoughts of fear, doubt, and limitation? Or are you actively training yourself to see opportunity, to reframe setbacks, to remain steady in the face of uncertainty? Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and water is what will grow. If you habitually plant seeds of anxiety and scarcity, that's what will dominate your mental landscape. But if you intentionally cultivate seeds of strength, clarity, and resilience, those are the qualities that will flourish. Another powerful practice is training yourself to dwell in the present. So much of our stress comes from ruminating on the past or anxiously anticipating the future. Yet the only moment you ever truly inhabit is this one, right now. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, what can I do in this exact moment that will move me forward constructively? That single question can snap you out of spiraling panic and ground you in productive action. Patience is arguably one of the most difficult virtues to cultivate, especially when you're striving towards something meaningful. You've put in the work, done everything right, and yet the results remain invisible. It's maddening, isn't it? Our culture constantly broadcasts the message that success should arrive quickly, that if you're not seeing immediate returns, you must be doing something wrong. But the deeper truth is that life operates on its own timetable, not ours. Trying to artificially accelerate the process usually backfires, creating more frustration and resistance. The Stoics grasped this with profound clarity. Epictetus noted that nothing truly great is created suddenly. Ponder that for a moment. Anything of lasting value, wisdom, genuine skill, deep character, requires time to mature. You can't force a tree to grow faster by tugging on its branches. You can't force life to deliver what you want before you're genuinely ready to receive it. There's an inherent order to things. And when you learn to trust that timing, you liberate yourself from immense self-inflicted pressure. Picture a young musician dreaming of recognition. They practice tirelessly, pouring their soul into their instrument. But the applause, the opportunities, the success they envision haven't materialized yet. At this crossroads, they have two fundamental choices. They can succumb to frustration, lose faith, and abandon their path. Or they can trust that every hour of practice, every piece they learn, every small struggle is quietly preparing them for something larger, even if they can't yet see the full picture. Those who trust the process keep showing up, and eventually they find themselves exactly where they were always meant to be. We live in an era of instant gratification, fast food, instant information, rapid success stories. We've been subtly conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen quickly, it's not worth pursuing, but some things simply require time. Deep relationships, personal transformation, mastery of a craft, all of these demand patience. The philosopher Socrates captured this when he implied that true being is revealed through doing, that growth is inherent in the process itself, not merely in the final outcome. If you're perpetually fixated on when something will happen, you miss the crucial work of who you are becoming along the way. So how do you maintain patience when it feels like nothing is progressing? The Stoic answer is consistent. Focus on what's within your control. You can't dictate the timing, but you can direct your own actions. You can continue showing up. You can keep refining your craft. You can keep evolving as a human being. And crucially, you can trust that if something is genuinely meant for you, it will arrive, not a moment ahead of its proper time. One of Stoicism's greatest gifts is the practice of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius advised accepting the circumstances that fate weaves around you and loving the people fate brings into your orbit. Instead of resisting life's natural rhythm, learn to embrace it. If things aren't moving as fast as you'd like, perhaps it's because you're still in the process of becoming the person capable of sustaining those very things. Have you ever noticed that when you desperately chase something, it seems to perpetually recede into the distance? Whether it's a career opportunity, a relationship, or a personal goal, the more frantic and needy your energy, the more elusive the prize becomes. It's as if the universe senses desperation and responds by pulling back. But when you act with calm, grounded purpose, things begin to align organically. There's a profound distinction between chasing and attracting. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus advised first defining clearly what you wish to become, and then acting in accordance with that vision. In other words, before you act, clarify your underlying motivation. Desperate action always stems from fear. Fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. Purposeful action, however, flows from a place of inner clarity and strength. When you know who you are and what you genuinely value, your actions become more deliberate, more grounded, more effective. Consider two people searching for employment. The first operates from desperation. They fire off applications indiscriminately, applying for roles they don't even want, panicking after every rejection. Their energy is scattered, anxious, uncertain. The second person operates with purpose. They've clarified their strengths. They take time to craft thoughtful applications. They prepare without obsessing over immediate results. Who do you sense is more likely to succeed? The one who is calm, confident, and strategic, not the one acting from fear. This principle applies equally to relationships. If you enter connections from a place of lack, fearing loneliness, seeking external validation, you often end up attracting dynamics that reinforce those fears. But when you approach relationships with self-respect and authentic confidence, you naturally draw healthier, more fulfilling connections toward you. People are instinctively drawn to those who are secure within themselves, not to those who are grasping for attention. Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, a state of living in alignment with purpose and virtue. He believed that genuine happiness doesn't come from accumulating external things, but from harmonizing your actions with your deepest values. Act with wisdom, integrity, and purpose, and let the outcomes unfold as they will. When you move with intention rather than panic, you make better decisions. You stop wasting energy on things that don't align with your true direction. Think of an experienced chess player versus a novice. The novice reacts impulsively, making moves from fear and uncertainty. The expert plays with patience, seeing the larger pattern, making deliberate choices. Life operates the same way. If you're constantly reacting to fear, you'll make choices that create more chaos. But if you step back, act with clarity, and trust the larger process, you move steadily toward the life you actually want. So how do you shift from desperate action to purposeful action? First, get clear on your why. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this because I genuinely desire it, or because I'm afraid of not having it? Second, slow down. Desperation always rushes. Purpose moves with measured patience. Instead of making decisions from a place of fear, give yourself space to reflect and choose wisely. And finally, trust yourself. You don't need to force things into place by sheer will. When you act with authentic confidence and inner alignment, opportunities naturally gravitate toward you. Seneca wisely observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Much of our desperation is fueled by imagined catastrophes. What if I never succeed? What if I fail? But the truth is, you are far more resilient than you give yourself credit for. You don't need to scramble frantically for what's meant for you. Act with purpose, move with confidence, and watch how life begins to conspire in your favor. Have you ever felt completely drained from the exhausting effort of trying to control everything? You plan, you push, you strategize, and yet life stubbornly refuses to conform to your blueprint. It's incredibly frustrating. You try to make people behave differently, to force circumstances into place, to predict and manage every variable, and you end up feeling more stressed and less in control than when you started. The harder you clench your fist, the more everything seems to slip through your fingers. But here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you finally let go, things begin to work in your favor. The Stoics understood this fundamental truth. Epictetus declared that freedom is the only truly worthy goal, and it is achieved by disregarding things beyond our control. Reflect on that. True freedom doesn't come from successfully controlling everything around you. It comes from releasing the very need to control. The more energy you invest in trying to manage things that aren't yours to manage, other people's opinions, the uncertain future, the unchangeable past, the more you deplete yourself. But when you redirect your focus to what you can actually influence, your own thoughts, your deliberate actions, your chosen responses, you reclaim your innate power. Consider relationships. Have you ever tried to change someone? Perhaps you wanted a partner, a friend, or a family member to behave differently, to be more understanding, more supportive, more aligned with your expectations. But no matter how sincerely you tried, they remained who they were. That's because people are not ours to control. We can communicate our needs. We can set healthy boundaries. We can choose who we allow into our inner circle. But we cannot force fundamental change in another person. When you release that futile need, you liberate yourself from endless frustration and allow relationships to develop naturally, or to dissolve if they must. The same applies to success. So many believe that if they just push harder, they'll reach their goals faster. But there's a crucial distinction between effort and control. You should absolutely work toward your goals, but obsessing over every minute detail, stressing about timing, and fearing failure creates invisible resistance. Seneca wrote that fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. When you fight against life's natural currents, you generate unnecessary struggle. But when you trust the process and focus on what's within your power, things tend to unfold with far greater ease. Picture yourself preparing for a significant interview. You've done the research, you've practiced your responses, you're ready, but instead of trusting your preparation, you start catastrophizing. What if they ask something I don't know? What if I freeze? What if I don't get the offer? Now your energy has shifted from quiet confidence to palpable anxiety. You walk in tense, second-guessing yourself. That desperate need for control actually sabotages your performance. But if you take a deliberate breath, remind yourself that you've done the work and release your attachment to the outcome, you walk in relaxed, fully present, and far more likely to succeed. So how do you begin loosening your grip on control? First, clearly distinguish what is and isn't within your power. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. There are things you can influence and things you cannot. Wasting energy on the uncontrollable is the definition of futility. Second, practice radical acceptance. Life won't always follow your script, but that doesn't mean it's going wrong. Sometimes detours lead to more beautiful destinations. And finally, cultivate trust, not just in some abstract cosmic order, but in yourself. Trust that you possess the resilience to handle whatever comes, even if it's not what you expected. Have you ever noticed that certain people seem to attract success, opportunities, and even happiness almost effortlessly? It's not that they possess some secret advantage. It's their underlying mindset. The way they think, the way they carry themselves, the way they interpret the world creates a reality where abundance flows toward them naturally. Conversely, people who constantly focus on what they lack seem to struggle endlessly, regardless of how hard they work. This isn't about luck. It's about the fundamental energy you bring to your life. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Epictetus stated that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True abundance isn't about accumulating more money, more achievements, more validation. It's about recognizing that you already possess everything necessary for a fulfilled life. When you stop operating from a scarcity mindset, the persistent belief that you never have enough, you create internal space for more to naturally arrive. Imagine two people walking into the same room. The first is hyper-focused on everything they lack. They compare themselves to others, feel they're falling behind, and believe success is always just out of reach. Their energy feels heavy. Their words carry doubt. They unconsciously repel opportunities. The second person enters with the quiet conviction that they have enough knowledge, enough skill, enough possibilities ahead. They engage confidently, form connections naturally, and often leave with new opportunities. The only difference? One was operating from scarcity, the other from abundance. And this applies far beyond money or career. It applies to relationships, happiness, even time itself. If you deeply believe there's never enough love, never enough time, never enough good people, your mind will continuously seek evidence to confirm that belief. But if you consciously shift your focus, you'll start noticing opportunities everywhere. You'll recognize kindness in others, possibilities in each moment, and blessings already present in your life. William James noted that the greatest discovery of his generation was that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. If you constantly feel something is missing, your brain will spotlight that lack. But if you train your mind to perceive abundance, if you practice gratitude, confidence, and trust, you begin shifting your entire reality. It's not magic, it's perception. What you focus on grows. Consider a musician approaching their career with a scarcity mindset. They constantly worry that opportunities are limited, that the industry is impossibly competitive, that they'll never break through. Every rejection confirms their deepest fears. Consequently, they play it safe, hesitate to take risks, and miss potential breakthroughs. Now imagine another musician who genuinely believes in abundance. They see each rejection as redirection, every challenge as a chance to improve. They take more risks, connect more authentically, and eventually find their path, not because they were luckier, but because they embodied abundance rather than fear. So how do you start embodying abundance? First, begin with gratitude. Instead of focusing on what's missing, deliberately focus on what's already here. When you appreciate what you have, you create a magnetic field for more. Second, act as if you already have enough. Move through life with the quiet confidence that opportunities are everywhere. And finally, release attachment. Trust that what's meant for you will find you, not through force, but through alignment between your actions and your deepest beliefs. Have you ever caught yourself obsessively pursuing a goal, pushing harder and harder, only to feel like you're running on a treadmill? You follow all the steps, do everything right, and yet the results remain stubbornly absent. We've been conditioned to believe that success is purely a function of effort, that if you never stop, never ease up, you'll eventually break through. But here's what most people miss. There's a profound difference between aligned action and desperate action. And sometimes the real key to progress is knowing when to act and when to step back and allow. The Stoics understood this balance intimately. Seneca wrote that effort combined with patience achieves far more than force combined with anxiety. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind, the hustle, the relentless push. But genuine success isn't about blind effort. It's about taking the right steps, staying open to opportunity, and then allowing life to unfold. The problem with forcing is that it creates resistance. It's like pulling at a tangled knot. The harder you yank, the tighter it becomes. Imagine trying to fall asleep. You can't force sleep. The more you try, the more wakeful you become. But the moment you relax, let go, and trust that sleep will come, it arrives naturally. The same is true for success, relationships, and personal growth. You must take action, yes, but you must also trust the process. Think of a farmer planting seeds. They prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water them, ensure they receive sunlight. But they don't dig up the seeds every day, demanding they grow faster. They trust that in due time, the harvest will come. If they tried to rush the process, they'd only damage what they planted. Life works the same way. You take action, you do your part, and then you trust that things will develop at their own pace. This applies to every dimension of life. In relationships, the person who tries too hard, texting excessively, needing constant reassurance, feels heavy, almost desperate. But the person who is calm, confident, interested but not clingy, naturally attracts others. They aren't forcing anything. They've created space for connection to flow naturally, rather than suffocating it. Or consider your career. Maybe you've been hustling, trying to force opportunities, and yet nothing seems to move. What if, instead of panicking, you trusted that your work is enough? What if you focused on being excellent at what you do, building meaningful connections, and allowing the right doors to open when the time is right? This doesn't mean passive resignation. It means you stop trying to micromanage every outcome. You take smart, purposeful action, and then you trust. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he wrote, "Do what you must, and let happen what may." This is the essence of aligned action. You focus on what's in your control, your effort, your discipline, your mindset, but you don't obsess over the results. Because the truth is, no matter how meticulously you plan, no matter how hard you push, there will always be factors outside your influence. And the more you resist that fundamental truth, the more stressed and frustrated you become. So how do you actually integrate this into daily living? First, get clear on your goal and take the necessary steps. Prepare, train, learn. Do your part fully. Second, consciously release the need to control when and how the results appear. Accept that timing isn't always yours to dictate. And third, trust deeply in your own resilience. Even if things don't unfold exactly as you envisioned, you will adapt. You will grow. You will discover new paths you couldn't have seen before. At the end of your life, it won't be about how perfectly you controlled every outcome. It will be about who you became in the process. The moment you shift your focus from desperate chasing to quiet alignment, from forcing to allowing, everything begins to fall into place. The Stoics understood this truth centuries ago, and now it's yours to apply. So, take a deep breath, trust the process, and remember that your real power has always been and will always be within you. If this message resonated with you, there's another video on the screen right now that will take you even deeper into practical Stoic wisdom. Click on it and continue your journey. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new insight. Thanks for being part of this community at Stoic Mindset Mastery. I'll see you in the next one.